us.
Welcome back. So time now to dive straight into the dailies rather. Yes, and joining us is our regular for Wednesday, Mr. Igo Akiria, member Guild of Editors of Nigeria. Good morning and thank you for joining us, Mr. Akiria.
I think it's good morning, Nigerians.
Yes, indeed. It's good to see you. So let's start straight off with the Leadership newspaper this morning. And the Leadership leads with, that very sad story where we started off from yesterday about the kidnap of 25 girls in Kebbi State. And take a look at this. Kebbi schoolgirls abduction, how my husband was killed. Slaying teacher's wife recounts. And there are a host of writers there. Well, 2 security operatives ignored Department of State Services intelligence. That's ascribed to sources. Perhaps it's an exclusive from the Leadership newspaper. Remain calm. Students will be released, Army Chief says. It's a page 4 read, and it will be an interesting one. Mr. Akiria, there you have it. While a number of Nigerians are mourning following continued attacks, there is also, that demonstration of leadership failure in the opposition party. But I'd like you to speak to this, particularly with this, detail coming through that intelligence may have been ignored.
Well, as you said, everyone should be mourning in Nigeria this morning. It's really, really a sad moment for everyone. I'm not happy, as you can see from even my personal demeanor this morning. I'm just not happy at all. As a Nigerian, one should really, really feel sad. With the abduction of 25, as we are told, 25 young girls from 13, 14 years, very little children who wants to get educated at the secondary school level. And then Nigeria failed them again. Now, what even bothers me most at this point, and I'm sure most Nigerians who are following what is happening in Kebbi State will be very, very bothered. The governor himself confirmed that the DSS gave a heads up, gave an intelligence report to him, and he mobilized soldiers and security forces to the school. And they even took photographs with those girls. And then, at some point, they withdrew from the school. And 30 minutes later, these terrorists struck and took the girls away and killed the vice principal of the school and the security guard. Now, what does that tell anyone who is watching the security situation in Nigeria? There are insiders within the security forces that are collaborating with these terrorists. At the highest level of security command, there are insiders. Because somebody gave instructions to the troops in the school to pull out. And immediately they pull out, it became an all clear for the terrorists to move in. So that is, if you look at it, you do not need to be a security expert to come to the basic deduction that this is pure, security compromise at the highest level. And I think that is why we are finding it difficult to overcome this terrorism challenge that we are facing. If you tie that to what even happened with Brigadier General Mohammed Umba, who was also killed, he was given his coordinates for rescue, and at some point, those coordinates I was also given to the security forces to rescue him. Somebody, I guess, in the system also gave out the coordinate to terrorists who were able to find him, because if you look at the reports that are coming in, the as he was given the coordinate, it's possible that the terrorists tracked the communication and were able to find his location. I beg to disagree with that kind of narrative. I think somebody in the system gave out the coordinate of the general who got surrounded by terrorists and he was killed. It's a very sad day for the country. It shows incompetence at every level at this point, every level of government. and you see politicians fighting for power. That is the lot that we have to deal with in this country at the moment. Nobody's feeling safe, whether you're in your school, in your house, anywhere you are, nobody's feeling safe. Now, I must also add quickly this morning, why is it difficult to, to stem the security challenges in the north when the same military was able to curb the Niger Delta unrest, was able to curb the southeast unrest? Because you saw Operation Crocodile Smile, Operation Python Dance, all kinds of operations, now we have Operation Hardin Kai, Operation Sarki Yama, and all of that going on. Whilst in this Niger Delta and the southeast, there appears to have been some restoration of calm. Why is it difficult to restore calm in the north? For me, I am seeing two factors there why it is becoming difficult for the security operations in the north to overwhelm the terrorists. Two factors. One, ethnicity and religion are playing a key factor. There are sympathizers, within the communities in the north that think that, oh, it is their people that are involved in this act of terrorism. And of course, religion is also playing a role here. The dominant religion in the north is Islam. And so, well, it is time to call a spade a spade. There are people who think that, oh, perhaps what the terrorists are propagating synchronizes, it sits with them, and so they are comfortable with it. Because we are seeing voices coming out from that region. A lot of the voices, singing discordant tunes, so a lot of them apparently supporting this terrorists, supporting the activities, while some, very few, are condemning it. Because if the regional leaders in the north really wants this issue to end, I'm sure it will end in just 3 or 4 days. But I think there's a whole lot of sympathy at the highest level of government.
That's a very strong statement. And we'll continue to probe the entire process and everybody in charge, because it's just sad to see how our people, our girls, our boys, our men and women, even our own military, being victims of this shameful, very terrifying situation we've been battling for many years now. And that's why we always argue, forget the nomenclature of whether genocide, Christian, and all of that. As far as I'm concerned, that is the reality of the Christians there. They say it is genocide. You can't take that away from them. But if you have a problem with that definition, the whole idea of the agitation is that stop the killing. So that whether it's Muslim or Christian or anybody, let's just stop the killing. I think it's as simple as that. Anyway, let's move on to Nigerian Tribune. PDP's day of tear gas chaos. Makinde, Bala Mohammed, Wike, Ayahu, others clash over Wadata Plaza. Day is about to break for a new PDP and for our democracy. That's according to Makinde. Enough is enough. PDP does not belong to one person. That's according to Bala. New party leadership thanks Nigerians for supporting democracy. Wike-backed faction expels Turaki, Mohammed, Makinde, Bode George, others dissolve Oyo, Ekiti, Bauchi, and Lagos ESCO. Are you seeing this new tit for tat, this a little show of shame, Mr. Kerega?
Well, one does not need to look too far to know where the problem is coming from in the PDP and other opposition political parties. We must not forget that in the last 2 years, the same fighting that is taking place in Wadata Plaza here in Abuja, amongst PDP leaders. That was what also happened in the labor headquarters in around somewhere in Abuja, somewhere in Jabi area. That is Utako area, where the Labour Party has its headquarters. There was also a lot of fighting, breaking down of the walls, breaking down of the gates, until, as we speak, the Labour Party has not been able to find its feet. So what is happening in the PDP is clearly the same playbook. Who are the proponents? The proponents are known. The belligerents are well known. Those who want the PDP to fall are well known. Perhaps those who are fighting to ensure that the PDP survive. People like elder statesman, senior citizen, 2-star general who has paid his dues in the army, Olabode George. His voice is very trenchant in the PDP struggle. He wants the PDP to stay afloat. But you have individuals who apparently, very clearly, it's becoming obvious who wants the PDP to go down. For me, every politician should decide where they want to be. You either want to be in the APC or you want to be in the PDP or Labour Party. But I mean, it is absurd for somebody to put one leg here and one leg there. It's like having a wife who didn't want a divorce. One leg is outside of the house, one leg is inside, destabilizing the home. So that is almost what you're having, playing out in the PDP. You have Governor Makinde of Oyo State, you have the governor of Bauchi State, and two of them, staying put to say, look, the PDP must survive, and the Ibadan Convention coming up with a new leadership, Tamino Turaki, emerging as the chairman of the PDP from that convention. Now, there are individuals like Wike and Samayahu and others didn't go to the Ibadan Convention. They are citing legal hurdles here and there. For me, I think it is becoming very obvious whom the hand of Esau is and the voice of Jacob. It is discernible to all Nigerians at this point now, people who are creating problems in the PDP. And for me, I'm not happy. The PDP should be allowed to survive as a political party, as an opposition party, just as the Labour Party and any other party which wants to play the opposition role. If you look at the report, what Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State is saying, because don't forget Seyi Makinde was in the G5 with Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister. They were all in Kehu, the former governor of Benue State, former governor of I think Enugu State, and but 5 of them, they were there in the G5. But what now happened? Seyi Makinde is saying that Wike and others wants a one-party state, and that he will not be alive to see Nigeria transformed to a one-party state. So I think himself and Bala Mohammed, they are in this camp saying that the PDP must stand as an opposition, while others perhaps wants to break the PDP down to pave the way for more people coming into the APC, and therefore trying to create a pathway for the one-party state. For me, I do not think that is the kind of democracy our forefathers envisaged and fought for. It is a pluralistic democracy, multi-party democracy that can provide a platform for every Nigerian with different shades of political opinion to participate in the democratic process. Everybody cannot be in one party. For me, I don't think I share that opinion as a journalist. There must be options, and there must be choices for people to make politically.
One thing is significant from the start of your commentary. You said it's beginning to be clear who the voice of. You acknowledge that indeed it's beginning to be clear who the voice of Jacob is and the hand of Esau. So, what actions will the party begin to take to address that? It appears as if even actions that have been taken, are leading nowhere. So how do you rein in on whoever it is that has the levers of control, and this control is tantamount to abuse, without necessarily overflogging the issue? The Guardian also, focuses on the unwholesome drama that unfolded yesterday at the Wadata Plaza in Abuja. It renders it this way: fears of one-party drift intensify as PDP crisis worsens, turns violent. You'll find it on page 6. So, Ms. Akeria, another part of this, event is caused by some party members for President Goodluck Jonathan to take up the candidacy of the party in 2027 to restore peace and indeed to help stabilize Nigeria. What are your thoughts on this gauntlet thrown the way of former President Goodluck Jonathan, particularly amid this crisis in the main opposition party?
For me, the silence of somebody like former President Goodluck Jonathan is no longer golden. I would expect him to speak out. It has nothing to do with whether he wants to run for presidency 2027 or not. But at this point, I think the former president, who is well respected across the country, he delivered the first globally accepted form of, democratic practice by conceding defeat to the former former president Muhammadu Buhari, who is late now, he considered it even before the entire results were announced. So that merely threw him into the global arena as an icon of democracy coming out of Africa. So his silence for me is no longer good. He should speak out. Not just him, other former leaders of this country. It is time to speak up because this is about existential threat to our democracy. In those days, we used to say nascent democracy, that Nigerian democracy is still very young. We are still learning the curves, trying to make our mistakes and grow. But for going to 25 years, we can no longer say, oh, this is a nascent democracy. We are now very matured, but the players are not matured, as it were. So for me, it is time for President Goodluck Jonathan to speak out. But the decision whether he wants to take another shot at the presidency in 2027 or not is entirely his. It is not something that people can make conjecture. Yeah, there are conjectures though, that he wants to run and all of that. But even if he wants to run or he doesn't want to run, the party that made him governor of Bayelsa State, that made him vice president of this country, and eventually becoming the president of Nigeria, is in disarray, is in confusion. And not just in confusion, the problem in the PDP is threatening, even democratic stability in the country, to the extent that the elected chairman of the party from the Ibadan Convention, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Turaki, is calling on President Donald Trump, and the United States and other world leaders to intervene. Yeah, I mean, for me, that is the height of frustration that some members of the PDP, are undergoing. Don't also forget, Turaki himself was at the FCT police command a day prior to yesterday, that was day before yesterday, to ask the police to ensure that there is law and order at the PDP secretariat. But the police were there, apparently helpless. They didn't know which side, what to do. But at this point, INEC, there is a regulatory agency for the political parties, should clearly lead the way to say, oh, this is the recognized leadership of the party. In the midst of the cacophony of conflicting court orders, INEC should be able, because the head of INEC right now, senior advocate of Nigeria, Joash, who is the chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission, he is legally learned enough to know where the odds are, who the odds favor at this point. And there should be clarity instead of allowing governors at that level to sit and be tear-gassed and almost throwing punches at each other. This is not the democracy that Nigerians are looking up to. And like I said earlier, there must be, the drum beat is coming from somewhere, the drummer is sitting somewhere, while the dancers are clearly in Wadata Plaza. It is so unfortunate, it is tragic, and it's unacceptable.
It's very tragic, as you put it. It looks like wherever you turn, there's one issue or the other as far as the nation is concerned. I'm just looking out for what else is there on the pages of the dailies. And there are just two stories that are leading big time, and that has to do with the security in Kebbi, as well as this battle for supremacy in the People's Democratic Party. As you said, PDP, they know their problem. How they will solve it is perhaps what they are disagreeing on. But just like you said, if it's clear that you want the downfall of the party, they've all taken action in counter-expelling each other. So I don't know which expulsion will stand. Perhaps what INEC is doing now is waiting for, because they filed an appeal. I think they've even filed for self-execution from judgment of the lower court. There are two judgments and one ruling, which will be heard, because there's an interlocutory injunction that was adjourned to be heard on, I think, December the 8th. So all of that is playing out right now. So as INEC is waiting to see what the appeal will look like, and maybe wait till the Supreme Court to know, because I'm seeing all kinds of argument. One side is saying notifying INEC of, according to paragraph 12 and 13 of INEC regulations and guidelines, notifying INEC is compulsory. INEC attending is not stated there. That's another argument. The other argument is to the issue of jurisdiction, who can hear what, although because the Electoral Act is not quite clear on a few things, but since INEC is I think, a federal agency, that's where the argument is going to be heard on December the 8th. So it depends on where you look. Everybody seems to be holding on to maybe the last piece of hope to be able to seize control of the party. But if you know where this is headed at the end of the day, for those of us, you and I who are journalists, we're sad because we're being denied the opportunity of a robust opposition. And that is not good for democracy. But before we let you go, Zakariga, ASU may be downing too soon. Places members on red alert. That's according to New Telegraph. They say they are not accepting. I think there's a proposal for salary increase, and I think they just want that renegotiated deal of 2009 to be resorted and resolved. So whatever is being said by the government seems not to be entering their ears, because failed promises are being like the trend. What do you make of it?
Well, it is so unfortunate. As I said, just as you also rightly noted, everywhere you turn, there are problems in the country, and problem of leadership. For me, it is just problem of leadership. The leadership has not been able to get its right, have not been able to focus on the critical issues. What is it with ASU all the time? When a new president comes in, he has to deal with ASU issue. I would have thought that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself, who understands all of these issues, would have called ASU leaders, renegotiated, and clear out all of the areas that the ASU leaders are talking about. We also have doctors that are on strike, National Association of Resident Doctors. So critical sectors of the economy is in turmoil, is in crisis. And I do not understand why the government appears to be dragging its foot, in resolving a lot of these, simple, I call them simple issues, because these are industrial disputes that has arisen from, the failure of government to keep its own part of the bargain, its own part of agreements. And that is what has led to all of these crises across the various sectors of national life. Now, I must also mention that very, very quickly, because this, whether it is ASU, whether it is the health sector, whether it is business or economy, the country must survive before anybody can do any of these things. Politicians that are fighting over power now, Nigeria must survive. We must have a stable country before where lecturers can teach, before students can be in school, whether the hospitals can run effectively and all of that. So for me, if you go back to 1967, when Govt declared a full-scale war on Biafra Republic that was in today's Southeast Nigeria, first of all, when Odumegwu Ojukwu declared on May 27, 1967, declared parts of the Southeast, the entire Southeast Republic of Biafra, the then head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, said he was deploying police action for 2 weeks. And when he discovered that the police action, which of course was a minimal intervention by the military, was not working, soldiers were being killed, the head of state at the time, Gowon, then declared a full-scale war on the then Biafra Republic. The question now is, terrorists are killing generals in Nigerian army, going to schools, stopping the schools from operating, making the entire country almost ungovernable, particularly in northern Nigeria. As we speak, Kwara State is almost going down. Kogi State is almost impassable. So what is the president waiting for before the country declares a full-scale war on terror, on these so-called terrorists? Because we cannot continue to pamper them, talk about reintegration, bring them and feed them, and they go back and wreak more havoc on the nation. So for me, ASU, yes, the government has to address that, but the priority issue in the country today is security. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has his work clearly cut out. He must leave everything he's doing now, focus on security. It's not about sending the vice president to Kebbi to commiserate with families and soldiers. The president now has his work cut out, sit and give clear directive as commander-in-chief, declare full-scale war on these terrorists. If it's to withdraw soldiers from other regions to the hotspot in Borno State, in Yobe State, in Kebbi, and flush these individuals out of the forest, we also have to do that. I said it last week that the borders in northern Nigeria, bordering Niger, Chad, Cameroon, we need to shut it down for 3 months and go after these terrorists once and for all, because we are at war with them. They are telling us clearly, they are showing videos of the Brigadier General that was murdered, but was killed by them, and we are still making it look like it's business as usual. I'm not happy this morning. It is time to declare a full-scale war on them. It's just the time to declare full-scale war.
Yeah, we identify with your sentiments this morning, and just to mention that CAN is also doubling down on its position that indeed there is, a targeted attempt to, exterminate Christians, confirming from its own position that indeed there is, Christian genocide in Nigeria. So I'm just wondering if, we need to deal with this the root causes rather than the symptoms, when you also consider the conversation around Nigeria having blasphemy laws and Sharia deeply entrenched in our judicial system. But that's another part of the conversation entirely. We must anchor this segment at this point, and thank you for coming on the show, for providing your insights, as always, on this segment. Mr. Igwe Akiria is a member, Board of Editors, Guild of Editors of Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
It's always a pleasure, Bukola and Jeffrey. Thank you.
Yes, we'll take a moment, and when we return, it'll be time, of course, to continue with our conversation in the same breath on national security. Our guest is already standing by, so stay with us. We'll be right back.